So I just saw The Boys Season 1, and it was a pleasant surprise. This is an Amazon original series based off of a comic book from the mid-2000s. It is basically a superhero show that is much more mature than the vast majority of properties in the genre. And when I say mature, I am not just referencing the mature rating. This is a show that is very intelligent and well-made. Sure, there are scenes that are violent, gory, and sexually explicit, and many of these scenes are clearly presented for shock value, but what really makes this show stand out is the writing. Not only is it engaging and well-paced, but the characters are very likable and well-defined. It is incredibly rare for me to watch a superhero property where I actually care about the characters, and I think one of the bigger reasons why this is able to stand out is because it is essentially a criticism of the genre. More than just being a straightforward superhero story, it is a critique of superhero stories. Throughout this show, there is plenty of interesting criticism on religion, politics, patriotism, stardom, etc. This is actually a story that has things to say, and there's a lot to chew on. There are characters in this show that are incredibly relatable, and there are others that are completely fucked up and broken, and each of these characters are fun and interesting in their own way. The music in this show is used appropriately and has a really fun energy to it. The color palette of this show kind of bothered me for the first episode. I'm not a huge fan of things looking dark and undersaturated. However, it didn't take long for me to get used to it, and it's arguable that this is another way that they're satirizing the DC cinematic universe. There are already characters that seem like fairly direct parodies of other pre-existing characters, and the show manages to bring a lot more depth and nuance to these characters than the originals. I love when the character Translucent says that his superpower isn't really invisibility, and that it's reading people and seeing how they truly are when they're alone. They take ideas, concepts, and set pieces that have existed countless times in many other forms, but they actually take the time to explore these ideas in ways that are much more thought-provoking. I absolutely love the commentary on the corporate elements of this superhero league, how they are incentivized to treat their image like an election campaign, the way that these characters have major conflicts of interest, and the way that they propagandize to the masses. It is infinitely more interesting of an angle than the vast majority of superhero properties. The mature rating also allows them to explore issues a lot more deeply than your average run-of-the-mill PG-13 superhero flick. This is a world where you get to feel and experience very real consequences. The deaths in this show are not just nerfed implications. It is often pretty morbid, and I wouldn't want it any other way. The performances in this show are also pretty great. The actors are well cast and bring a lot of life to these characters. Now, with this being a series, there are points where the computer animated effects don't look perfect, and there were also some moments where I was a bit annoyed by some plot conveniences. It's not a perfect show, but there wasn't really anything that ruined my experience, although Amazon's Prime Video software certainly tried. I had this show on autoplay from episode 1, but because the first 4 episodes were already watched by somebody else on my account, it decided to autoplay from the end of episode 1 into episode 5. Like, even though I started from the first episode, it decided, no, you've already seen episodes 2, 3, and 4, we're just gonna skip to episode 5. And it was halfway into episode 7 that I realized what was happening. It wasn't completely incomprehensible or anything, I just assumed that there was more left up to interpretation. Anyway, I went back and watched episodes 2, 3, and 4, and then skipped through 5 and 6 just to refresh myself, and it turns out I was missing quite a bit of context. So thanks a lot, Amazon, I'll be sure to remember that from now on. Anyway, I enjoyed this show quite a lot, and I'm looking forward to Season 2 coming out next month. If you haven't seen Season 1 already, then please do, because I think it's great, and I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10.